Hello and welcome to Money Life. This is Sucheta Dalal. I'm talking to you today on a different forum because Tushar, who does this recording every time, is under a lockdown. So we experiment and I hope you're going to bear with us. This is Devashish Basu, our editor, recording this video. What are we going to talk about today? Something that upsets all of you. It all started with us hearing that the Vadhavan family of Diwan Housing is holidaying in Mahabaleshwar at a hill station because an IPS officer called them family friends and sent 22 people in a luxury entourage to sit and rest over there while the rest of us are locked down, and look at what we're going through. Actually, the issue is not about the Vadhavans. It is about how regulators do not seem to understand that even regulation, supervision, and decisions with regard to bailout have to be timed. It's like when you make an investment, you have to get the timing right. Even regulators need to understand, anticipate, and seize an opportunity when it is available. But India is a story of lost causes. We have no regulatory accountability. Most of our parliamentarians don't understand anything about finance and don't ask the right questions, which is why decisions just drag on and inflict tremendous losses onto ordinary savers. This is not evident when there are good times, but we have seen nothing but bad times for investors in the last year or so. It started with infrastructure leasing and financial services, then HDIL, PMC Bank, Yes Bank, Diwan Housing. It will go on. So let's look at a few cases where sloppy regulators who haven't acted fast enough have missed the boat, and we now have a global pandemic, a global recession that's going to happen, in fact, the worst after the Great Depression. And look at how many ships have sailed, and we are not going to get the opportunities back again. So I'll start with the Yes Bank resolution. Remember, I was all praised for it in a previous weblog. In a recent webinar, Deepak Parekh, who's one of our most respected names in the financial sector with a great understanding of systemic issues and solutions, had some very crystal clear thinking in a webinar which discussed the corona epidemic. One of the things he said was that the Yes Bank kind of public-private solution should have been adopted for IL&FS as well as PMC Bank. Now, guess what? In February, when I first wrote about a public-private solution for Yes Bank, it was actually Mr. Deepak Parekh who had gone to Governor Shaktikanta Das and offered the solution. The RBI did act really fast to pull it through. But what we don't know is that the final solution is a lot different from what Mr. Parekh had suggested, with all the flaws that RBI and central banking bureaucrats sitting in an ivory tower can induce into a well thought out plan. And this actually doesn't reflect on the governor, but he works as a team. So what did we discover afterwards? That the final solution actually leaves SBI fully irresponsible. It's a SBI team and a bunch of foreign investors who are very interested in investing in Yes Bank and committed over $1 billion, had brought money into escrow accounts, walked away because the RBI did not give them the comfort that they wanted. There was even a central banker, we hear from sources, who felt that let the first one be an Indian bailout. I don't know what is so nationalistic about a bailout of a failed private bank, but he wanted foreigners to come in only in the second round. Well, where is that second round going to be? That ship has sailed, and in a global pandemic, those same investors are unlikely to be so willing to come in if they walked out at the last moment the first time around. Who does it hurt? It hurts all of us. But there is much worse, because there is one bunch of investors who were treated really shabbily, which was the AT1 bondholders. Now, the government and the regulators in their wisdom may have decided that these are sophisticated investors and they can lose. So there was a solution that was offered by mutual funds which said convert 80%, take a 80% haircut, convert those bonds into equity, give them a fighting chance. This was rejected. Now, what the government didn't know and the regulators didn't bother to find out was something which was more outrageous, which is that Yes Bank had systematically used its relationship managers to sell these bonds to its own depositors and had persuaded them to move lakhs of rupees from fixed deposits into AT1 bonds by claiming that these are 9% bonds which will be fixed for at least 5 years in a period of falling interest rates, and you can't get safer than this. So you have senior citizens living on their savings who have been persuaded by gross mis-selling. Did RBI know this? I'm willing to bet it does not. In fact, I'm sure it hasn't even applied its mind to the fact that when you inflict losses on mutual funds, it is small savers. And you have again missold small savers because another regulator, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, has allowed the mutual fund industry to use the slogan mutual fund sahi hai, which means invest in any mutual fund and it's safe. And these mutual funds have now gone and invested in AT1 bonds, and we consider them sophisticated and inflict losses on all these small shareholders. This decision was a last minute decision. Nobody understands why it was done. And every single person in the financial sector, including those who came in to bail out the bank, think it was absolutely wrong and should be reconsidered. But again, is it too late? I don't know. These bond investors have a great case in court if they're able to fight it out. But as you know, litigation in India tends to be long drawn and very expensive and can get appealed all the time by powerful bankers and regulators. What we learn is a Business Standard report said recently that the RBI is thinking of buying back those bonds. It makes no sense to us. Why do we have these half-baked leaks is beyond me. Because again, why are they not accepting the haircut when the share price of Yes Bank is much higher in the market? The bad news doesn't stop there. I mean, if people weren't outraged enough at how AT1 bondholders have been left out to dry, then you have news that this new management appointed by State Bank has decided to donate 10 crores, if you please, to the Prime Minister's Relief Fund, PM CARES. A failed bank living on borrowed money, not sure about its future, when it has ditched its core depositors who have been cheated by its own people, it goes and asks, invest 10 crores in the Prime Minister's Fund. I really hope that the Prime Minister rejects it and tells them, focus on business. We have bailed you out. We do not want this 10 crores. It has to be utilized to turn the bank around. You've been given one chance. We really hope the Prime Minister or the Finance Minister comes out and says that and returns that money. It's really outrageous. Or we at least hope that the courts are going to take notice of this nonsense. Now, so we talked about Yes Bank. Look at the other one. We come back to what I started with, which is the Vadavans holidaying at Mahabaleshwar. The CBI would have us believe that after the two Vadavans, the chairman and one more director, were out of jail, they were absconding, one coming for hearings. So they even went through the charade of having an Interpol notice issued. Meanwhile, these politically connected, powerful looters were in touch with an IPS officer posted as principal secretary in the Maharashtra government Home Department, Mr. Amitabh Gupta, who issues a letter calling them family friends and allows them to go on a joyride. So wherever they're absconding, they're already at one hill station, Khandala. You all heard the song. Now they go from one hill station to another hill station. This is a government that has no qualms about arresting activists in the middle of the COVID pandemic. But what does it do with financial looters? They continue to be in lockdown at Mahabaleshwar. They haven't been hauled back in. They haven't been thrown back into jail for misusing the system. In fact, the Times of India reports that even those cars that they went to Mahabaleshwar with have fake registrations and fake names. I mean, how much more outrageous can it get? And how much of public patience is going to be tried this way? Yet another kite that's being flown by politicians at this time is to pretend that there is a solution for PMC Bank. This is Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank, which failed in September last year, was looted by another branch of the same Vadavan family through a company called HDIL. Those guys mercifully are still sitting in jail. But is that bailout even possible? We at Money Life Foundation, which is our sister NGO, had worked really hard to find a solution. We had gone to Mr. Deepak Parekh for advice. We had checked facts on the ground. We had written out a possible resolution plan. It needed to be pushed by the government because nobody was going to resolve it without the RBI and the Finance Ministry and the PMO standing firmly behind a revival. Nothing happened. We talked to many people. Now there are kites being flown every day saying a revival is possible, money is going to be lent from the deposit insurance, which has never happened before, so we don't know under what law they would do it. And there are politicians who are asking for it to be merged, which means again, Vadavans, remember, very close to politicians. Some people say that politicians have investments in both their companies. They are going to get an exit because the bank will be merged with a public sector bank, and all of us are going to pay the price, which means the poorest Indian who doesn't even have a bank account, when these banks eventually get bailed out by the exchequer, it is every one of us who are paying the price for the loot by financial criminals. I think it needs to stop. So where is this great muscular decisive action that we see by this government? Is it restricted to coming out and banging thalis in the night or flashing lights and mobiles? We need action here. We need it fast. It's about our money. You've locked us down. We have no income. We don't have pensions. We don't have government salaries coming in. At least ensure that our savings are safe. At least ensure your regulators are accountable. Bring them on to Twitter. Make them answer people. They can't remain in hiding. We need the government to show us that it can have the same decisiveness and muscular action even when it comes to finance. It's all about timing. The timing has to be right. We may be a little late, but hopefully not too late. Thank you.